Hello and welcome to another video tutorial here on allaboutbodylanguage.com. Now, we're talking about part 2 of the body language lying and deception series here. In part 1 we covered all about the myths associated with like action. We talked about the increased gaze aversion, and we also talked about the nervous behaviour that often a liar will sometimes do, but it's also associated with a myth as well, because it's called impression management, where a liar will try and make a credible impression on you. So in this part of the series we're going to talk about the reliable and researched indicators of catching a lie. Now in this instance I must stress that there are more verbal than visual cues to deceit. Now that is, again, in itself is quite a statement, because when we talk about lying and deception there are so many myth-truths associated with body language, like things like what we talked about in the first episode about increased gaze aversion. We also talk about the nervous gestures, and also things been written about visual constructed imagery and visual remembered image, about oculesics, about eyes looking up and left, up and right. No research associated with that. So in this section we're going to talk about the reliable and research methods, and one of that research and reliable indicators is the pause between a question asked and the answer given. Now this gives a liar time to put together a credible answer which he might not have formulated. So one reliable indicator of deceit is the long pause between when asked a question and answered. So that is, again, a reliable indicator of deception. Also, speech hesitations and speech errors are also a reliable indicator of deceit, because again, if the liar has not purposefully and previously put together a convincing answer or a convincing statement, his brain goes into overload. And again, when it starts to go into overload, it can't formulate a question fast enough, so the speech errors and the speech hesitations come in as well. So again, that's another indicator, another verbal indicator of deception. Now, when we're talking about body language, there is a really good indicator of deceit, and that comes with the reduction of behavioural animation. So, if the lie is quite complex, the lie will feature something called increased cognitive load. And that is when there is so much demand placed upon the brain that the liar cannot formulate an answer quick enough, so it puts all his thought and energy into creating a believable and a consistent story, that it reduces his behavioural animation and it reduces his hand gestures. Now this works for two reasons. Obviously, if his brain's been overloaded with information to try and make a story believable, that's going to reduce his behavioural animation anyway, but also because our hand gestures are very subconscious, meaning that we're only partially in control of what hand gestures we give off. We can use regulators or we can use adapters and things like that, but a liar often isn't in control of what hand gesture we give off. Like if I asked you this morning or this afternoon, what hand gestures did you use this morning, you wouldn't be able to remember. And that's the same way why a liar often will not engage the hands, because they're not consciously aware of what hand gestures they give off naturally. So again, if a liar is thinking and he's doing all this, it's going to send out a bad impression. So again, that's one reason why the hands are often quite frozen during a high stakes lie. So in the next chapter we're going to talk about the 3 emotions that a liar has to experience for these verbal and visual signs to come out. So make sure you check out part 3 on allaboutbodylanguage.com, where we put everything together and make things nice and easy for the audience.